Hey everyone, and welcome! Today we're going to take a journey across the vast wilderness of North America to meet a truly majestic trio, the continent's 3 native bear species.
So here's the plan for our adventure. We'll start with a quick introduction to all 3 of North America's bears. Then, we'll zoom in on each one. The super adaptable black bear, the incredibly powerful brown bear, and of course, the iconic polar bear. And to wrap it all up, we'll put them side by side to really lock in what makes each of them so unique.
You know, North America is just this huge, diverse place, and it's home to 3 really distinct and fascinating bear species. From the deepest forests all the way to the frozen Arctic, each one is just perfectly designed for its own world.
But that brings up a good question. If you saw one in the wild, how would you actually tell them apart? I mean, it's a lot trickier than you'd think. Things you might rely on, like their fur color or even their size, can actually be pretty misleading.
All right, let's dive right in with the most common and widespread of the 3, the American black bear. You can find these guys in forests and mountains pretty much all across the continent. So, first things first, we gotta bust a myth. The name black bear is, well, a little bit of a lie. Sure, a lot of them are jet black, but their fur can also be a beautiful cinnamon brown, blonde, or even white, like the famous spirit bear you find in British Columbia. Get this, there's even a super rare blue-tinted one in Alaska called the glacier bear. How cool is that? Let's break down what makes them tick. So black bears are the smallest of our trio, with the guys weighing in around 400 pounds. Now here's a key thing to look for. They don't have that big shoulder hump like a grizzly. Their back end is actually higher than the shoulders. They've also got this straight facial profile and short, really curved claws that are just perfect for climbing trees. And for a bear, their diet is pretty surprising. About 90% of it is just plants, nuts, and berries. Talk about adaptable.
And you definitely don't want to be fooled by that stocky build. These bears are seriously fast and agile. When they need to, they can absolutely bolt, reaching speeds up to 25 miles per hour.
The way they have their young is just incredible. So they mate in early summer. But then, in this amazing little twist of nature, the embryo just pauses its growth until the fall. This means the mom can give birth to her 1 to 5 tiny cubs while she's all snug in her winter den. And those cubs will stick with her for up to 2 years, pretty much going to bear school to learn all the survival skills they'll ever need.
Okay, next up is the heavy hitter, the powerful brown bear. Now, you might know them by other names, like the grizzly or the Kodiak. This is the species famous for its just awesome size and strength.
Now here's something that trips a lot of people up. Grizzly bear and brown bear, they're actually the same animal. The real difference just comes down to where they live and what they eat. The inland grizzlies are a bit smaller because their diet has more plants, but the coastal brown bears, like those massive Kodiak bears, get to feast on salmon all day. All that protein is what allows them to get just gigantic. So let's look at the anatomy of all that power. That huge hump on their shoulders, that's not fat. It's a massive bundle of muscle they use for digging, giving them incredible strength. You'll also notice their dished-in face, short rounded ears, and these long, straight front claws that can be 4 inches long. They're basically perfect tools for excavating.
And just to really put their size into perspective, the biggest coastal males can weigh up to a staggering 1,500 pounds. That makes them a true heavyweight champion of the animal kingdom.
All right, let's head way up north now, to the frozen world of the Arctic, to meet the planet's largest land predator, the polar bear. This animal is just uniquely and perfectly built for a life on the ice. And here's a super unique fact for you. Polar bears are the only bear species that are actually classified as marine mammals. And why is that? Well, it's because their entire existence, everything they do, depends completely on the sea and the sea ice. I mean, they are perfectly engineered for this extreme environment. Under all that white fur, they have black skin to soak up every bit of the sun's heat. Their paws are like these incredible built-in snowshoes, up to 12 inches wide, partially webbed for swimming, and they have these bumpy little pads that give them traction on the ice. And their sense of smell? It's a legitimate superpower. They can sniff out a seal from almost a mile away, even if it's hiding under 3 feet of snow. Just amazing. Okay, so we've met each bear on its own. But, you know, the 2 that get mixed up the most are definitely the black bear and the grizzly. So let's put them side by side and really nail down the key differences once and for all.
The number 1 giveaway, the thing you should look for first, is their silhouette. See that massive shoulder hump on the grizzly? The black bear doesn't have that at all. It has a much flatter back,
and its rump is actually the highest point on its body.
Next, take a look at their faces. The grizzly has that dished, kind of concave profile. The black bear's profile, on the other hand, is much straighter, almost like a ski slope running from its forehead right down to its nose.
And finally, their claws really tell the story of their lifestyle. A grizzly's claws are long and straight. They're like little shovels for digging up roots and dens. A black bear's claws are shorter and more curved, like perfect little hooks for climbing trees.
You know, beyond all the biology, it is so important to remember the cultural significance of these amazing animals. For countless indigenous peoples across North America, bears are deeply revered. They're powerful symbols of strength, of hard work, and even of love, and they play a central role in stories and traditions passed down for generations.
So as we wrap things up here, I'll just leave you with this to think about. From the black bear's climbing claws, to the grizzly's digging muscles, to the polar bear's snowshoe paws, which of these incredible adaptations do you find the most fascinating? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.